Well, in 1814, we took a little trip along with Colonel Jackson down the mighty Mississippi. Took a little bacon and we took a little beans, and we fought the bloody British in the town of New Orleans. That's right, it is update time. I don't know how long this video is going to be. I just wanted to let you guys know that I am out here making headway. Basically, I've got everything. Let's get this off of here. Basically, I've got everything taken loose from the front of the engine. The wire harness. The wire harness is completely unplugged from everything on top of the engine, side of the engine, all that crap. Now this is the main trunk that goes back to the factory ECU. It goes all through here. It goes down, around behind the engine, over to that side. So here's the deal, guys. We don't need any of this. So I'm going to be pulling this entire factory PCM out. I'm going to be redoing some wiring because as it stands right now, you know, we've got our electric cooling fan here. Well, the relay for the electric cooling fan on these third gens is actually all the way over here. That's what those guys are there. Well, one of them's for that. I think one of them is for the fuel pump, etc. So what I want to do to simplify stuff and not have as many wires strewn all over the engine bay is we're going to move the relay for the fan Like, we're gonna get rid of all this wire here. We're gonna move that relay for the fan right over here. Probably mount it somewhere in this area behind the headlight pocket here, something like that, you know, just to clean things up. I'm not sure, I haven't really checked all the wiring diagrams. This may actually be the fuse for the fan right here, so it may end up being a situation where we put the fan relay right here next to the fuse for it. So I posted some pictures last night on the Bad Luck Garage Instagram and Bad Luck Garage Facebook group, you know, where I was tearing into this thing finally, and some of you guys were asking some questions. One of you, I'm sorry, I can't remember your name, but you were asking why I was talking about pulling the engine and the transmission separate, and I'm going to show you. There's actually several reasons for it. Number one is, this is all the space I have up here, man. So if I wanted to pull it all as a solid chunk, I would need, you know, the nose on these cars is super long. So I would need to be able to lift it here and pull it way back, okay? I'm not gonna have the room. Like, even if I cleared all this little stuff out, I would have to pull that hoist back to probably past my workbench to clear the nose of this car. So that's one reason that I've decided to just pull the engine and transmission separate. Because generally, what you guys usually see me do on this channel when I pull engines is I will have the vehicle like half in and half out of the garage. Or in the case of Project Steppenwolf, you know, our turbocharged C10, I actually did everything out in the driveway. Well, it is cold as shit right now, and I don't want to have this garage door open any more than I have to. In addition to that, it's just there's a reason this car is on ramps in the front instead of jack stands. The nose on these third gens is so long, you have to, like, you can't put a jack under the nose of the car and get to anything solid to lift the front of the car. You have to pretty much lift it from the sides if you want to put jack stands under it. And the problem with that is my garage is so narrow here. I don't, you know, it's a pain in the ass to try to get a jack under this side of the car. You have to kind of put it in sideways and everything. So I don't want to have to, you know, let the car down now that it's no longer capable of moving over its own power. I don't want to have to try to let it down and roll it back out of the garage to pull the engine, then roll it back in, and it's, you know, jack it back up so I can get underneath it. And you know, you have to have about this height if you want to pull everything together anyway. So it's just, there's a whole lot of reasons. One more reason yet is to not have to pull the fan or the radiator or radiator shroud, any of that. Because if I just pull the engine up by itself, and when I put the new LS in, put it straight in by itself, I probably am not going to have to, you know, pull the radiator or anything. It's just one less thing I have to mess with, guys. I don't know how many of you have actually messed with third gen Camaros and Firebirds, but there's actually quite a bit of room under there to get to the bell housing bolts from underneath the car. So I mean, guys, I've owned 7 of these, and back in the day, I mean, I've pulled engines out. This is the way I've always done it, you know, just to be straight up with you. I've never really pulled it as a solid unit, and it's because of some of the reasons I mentioned about as far as trying to get the car up off the ground, stuff like that. Back in the day, a lot of the times, see, I didn't have a garage. So a lot of times I was working in a gravel driveway too, and I'd have the engine hoist on a piece of plywood. So I had to be able to roll the car back rather than move the engine hoist when I was pulling an engine out of something. And you know, it's kind of hard to roll the car back when it's on jack stands. And yeah. Anyway, guys, I'm just rambling now, but yeah, I'm pulling it in 2 pieces. Tonight, I'm hoping to go ahead and finish up taking some stuff loose, but I'm not pulling the engine tonight, and I'm not pulling it tomorrow. Actually, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing a installation video of the UMI torque arm and transmission cross member. The reason I want to do that right now is because I want to show in the video removing the old one and, you know, putting the new one in. And obviously I can't do that if I've already pulled the transmission because, well, it bolts to the old one bolts to the transmission. So kind of understand, guys, you know, sometimes these videos hold me up And that's kind of the case. You know, what's going on here is this whole video process is going to hold me up a little because I want to shoot a few how-to videos in the middle of this process. So that is going to slow me down. Normally, if I wasn't worrying about videoing, pretty much, you know, here in about an hour or two, I would probably be ready to go ahead and yank this engine out. But because I am videoing, it may be a week before this engine and transmission actually comes out. I was thinking about doing it Sunday if I have time to do the torque arm video tomorrow. By the way, it's Thursday here right now. So when I say tomorrow, I'm talking about Friday, which is probably when you guys are going to be seeing this video anyway. You know, I talked about getting it out by Sunday. I don't know if that's going to happen now because it turns out I've just got a ton of stuff to do this weekend in regards to my kids and to a state certification class that I have to prepare for my job. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of give you guys this update and answer the questions about, you know, why I'm pulling the engine and transmission separate. So that's pretty much it. Because I want to make other videos and because I'm limited on space and because honestly, it just kind of makes it easier to get it out through here and everything. And I will probably put the LS and the transmission back in the same way. They're just over here chilling in the corner. We got our 5.3 right there. Got our little turbo 350 down there. For you guys who keep asking why I'm putting a turbo 350 in here, I suggest you go back and watch the first couple videos in this series, or watch the goals and plans video for this particular build, Chaos Theory. But I'm probably going to put them in the same way. I'm probably going to put the engine in first, which will make things a lot easier. You know, just drop it straight down on the mounts, you know, and then we'll put the transmission in from the bottom there. But I've rambled enough. It's time to get some more stuff done. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to turn the camera off so I don't run a bunch of footage up. And I'm going to try to take a few more things loose. Possibly see if I can get this wire harness completely out from around this engine. There's some brackets back there holding it. And I've got to take the power wires loose from the starter and stuff still too. So, oh, one thing I wanted to say before I get started is the only wires under here that I think we're really going to keep there is going to be the wires that go to the gauges, like the water temp or the engine temp and the oil pressure. We're actually going to keep those because I'm going to pull the engine temp gauge and put it in the head that we tapped, and I'm going to pull the oil pressure gauge or oil pressure sending unit down there and, you know, put that on the LS engine as well. So we can use our factory gauges for now until such time as maybe I can afford a Holly dash or something like that. So yeah, we're going to reuse the gauge wires, but everything else unnecessary is going bye-bye. The air conditioning, all that's going bye-bye. We are going to run a heater. I'll be doing a video on that. I've already bought a AC delete box. So yeah, and power steering, we're going to be getting rid of that. I'm going to be looping the lines down there. That'll be in a video. Well, everything's going to be in a video. You know how I roll, guys. So you guys want to see some really funny shit? If you go back and watch the video where we sprayed a ton of nitrous at this thing, it was just popping and backfiring like crazy. Well, apparently it blew the freaking O2 sensor apart, guys. Like, we blew the damn O2 sensor out of it with all that nitrous. That's freaking hilarious. You can kind of see what I'm talking about here. I was talking about a little while ago in the video. I mean, the bell housing bolts, they're pretty much a straight shot right up through here. They're not hard to get to, guys. See if I can get my fat butt over here on the other side. Yeah, see, there's, you know, there's a bolt, there's a bolt. They're like, the very top bolt would be hard to get to, but we can get to it from the top. So yeah, no problem pulling them separate, engine and transmission. So I'm going to start taking stuff apart down here, get the starter off, and maybe get some of these harness clips off. And I'll be back in a few minutes. All right, boys and girls, a few hours later, and here we are. This thing's pretty much ready to pull. I managed to get the entire wire harness out. That's this guy here, and I'm just telling you right now, getting this wire harness out was the hardest part of the whole ordeal. But we can't throw that away. We're actually going to have to go through that harness, because although most of that is engine harness, everything is integrated into one harness. So this isn't just the engine harness, this is the entire engine compartment harness. So yeah, pretty much everything's in there. We're gonna have to go through, split the loom. I pretty much know what's what. Like, this is my cooling fan wires, which we may not even use, but you know, we also have, there's our junction block that used to be next to the radiator. But within this harness, let's see here, where's the end of it? I know I keep saying guys, but sorry about that. It's late and I am tired. See right here, these are the relays, or what, these are the harness plugs that plugged into the factory relays, and I think I'm going to reuse those. I'm just going to move them. So I'll probably cut out this little sub harness, but this connector here, I'm not sure what all is within this connector, but I'm pretty sure some of my gauge wires are in here, as well as my starter wire that actually starts the car. So yeah, we're gonna have to weed all that out. We had to fish all this out. You can see the stock PCM right here. I got that out from under the dash. What I'm going to try to do is put the Holley PCM in the same spot. The only difficult part is going to be figuring out a way to mount it, but because the Holley PCM is actually about the same size as this. Now keep in mind, we're not using the Terminator, we're using the HP. It's about the same size as this, maybe not quite as thick in the middle there, so it ought to fit in the spot that came out of, but you know, we're gonna have to probably fabricate some sort of bracket to actually hold it there. But yep, that's it guys. In a nutshell, she's ready to pull. Speaking of nutshells, we got plenty of them under here that were under the intake the upper intake manifold there. So the only thing holding this engine in right now is the two engine mount bolts and the bell housing bolts. And this guy's ready to pull. It's completely detached from everything. Oh, well, the exhaust crossover pipe, but I'm not gonna bother fighting with those rusty bolts. While I was under there, I noticed a couple of the exhaust manifold bolts are broken already. We're not gonna fight with those. I'm gonna crawl under there with the Sawzall, and I'm just gonna cut the crossover pipe off both sides, because I'm pretty sure, yeah, it goes way over to here, so I can't pull it with it on there. I may be able to just, yeah, I may be able to get away with just cutting the crossover pipe like right here, but regardless, I'm cutting the crossover pipe because we're not reusing any of that shit. So once that's cut, the bell housing bolts and the two engine mount bolts, that's all that's holding this engine in. We'll be able to pull it straight out. Transmission, the only thing holding it in is the transmission lines, the cross member, and the torque arm. So yeah guys, I mean, it's ready to pull. Now regardless of that, the next video you see is not going to be me pulling this engine. The next video you see after this one, unless I do some kind of little update video in between, the next video you see from me will probably be the torque arm installation video, torque arm and cross member from UMI. Like I said earlier, I want to do like a full installation video for that. And then the next video after that should be me pulling this engine. I don't know if it's going to happen this weekend or not. Like I said, I've got a lot of stuff going on this weekend with my kids. And I've actually got a car I want to go look at for one of them. So I've got a lot to do this weekend. I doubt the engine's going to come out this weekend. And then next weekend I have to work. So I don't know, guys. It may just be me and Tracy here pulling the engine. You know, I really don't have anybody else to help. Ray's working out of town, out of state actually right now, so I don't think he'll be here either. And I really don't want to tell him anything for sure because, like I said, I might be tied up Sunday and, you know, not be able to do this. So anyway, guys, that's the update. Everything's taken loose from the engine. It's ready to pull. Once it's pulled, I'll be doing the AC delete box. and I'll probably be pushing this thing out into the driveway, and we'll just clean the shit out of this engine bay. I'm not gonna paint it. This ain't that kind of build. I'm just gonna hit it with a bunch of engine degreaser. I actually bought 3 cans of engine degreaser today just for that purpose. So I'm just gonna, you know, scrub it down, clean it up as best I can, and then it'll be coming back in, and we'll set the LS in there. After that, we'll be focusing on the wiring, and yeah, that's pretty much the order of things right now, guys. I'm pretty happy with where I'm at. Not gonna ramble anymore. Hope you enjoyed this update. If you did, make sure you click the thumbs up button. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed. For those of you who are, thank you very much for watching. Thanks for sticking with me. I know we had a dry spell there, but I'm back getting stuff done out here in the garage now. So you need to do the same thing. Get off YouTube, get out in the garage, get something done, and I'll see you next time here on Bad Luck Garage.